Hello ladies and gentlemen, Inside Jacob's Mind here, and it's that time of the year. It's the time where I'm going to start talking about a bunch of movies and shit. I've done a best and worst movies of the year list for the last 3 or 4 years or so. It's something I really look forward to doing. Now, it's time for the bad, it's time for the worst, it's time to rant about some of the shitty movies that really pissed me off. My best list is coming, probably towards the middle or towards the end of February, because, you know, we don't get a lot of the Oscar releases and stuff until then, so I hold off. I like to be able to see everything, but I have seen about 178 2017 release films, so there's a lot to choose from for this worst list, and we're about to get started. Just one more little stipulation. I watched a lot of straight-to-video and Netflix type shit, and I'm not going to include all that on the list, because if I included all that, then my bottom 10 of the year would just be a bunch of Netflix garbage you've never freaking heard of. So, just to mention these movies that are some of the worst I've seen this year, on the screen now are a bunch of titles flashing up, all garbage. They're all on Netflix if you, I don't know, are just looking to torture someone or torture yourself. You're a masochist, but yeah, these are all garbage. Don't watch them. So I'm limiting this mostly to theatrically released stuff. There are a couple cheats on the list that I'll get to, but yeah, those are the rules. And of course, if a movie you liked is on the list, cool, enjoy it. Like, you know, don't let me fucking stop you. I'm just one prick sitting in front of a camera. Let's go. Now, firstly, I have some actual honorable mentions. The first one is Justice League. Now, I know a lot of people really like this and have fun with it. I didn't. I thought it was an incredibly ugly looking film. The CGI was awful, not to mention the mustache gate. But I just didn't think it was all that fun, and it felt like them scurrying to right the wrongs of the previous movies, and none of it really worked. It has its moments, it has a few good scenes. It's certainly better than Batman vs Superman, but not by much. I really did not like Justice League. The Bad Batch, I caught this on Netflix. It came out pretty early in the year, and it's by Annalily Amirpour, who did A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, which was pretty good, pretty stylish, and this movie was just kind of nothing. I mean, it has Jason Momoa playing a cannibal called Miami Man, who kills and eats someone while listening to the song Karma Chameleon by Culture Club. How this was not the best movie of the year, I will never know. Before I Fall, one of many Groundhog Day ripoffs that we're getting a lot lately. Zoe Deutsch plays the main character, and it's basically just about a bunch of shitty people learning to be slightly less shit, and I really did not like it. And my last honorable mention is Baywatch. I was actually looking forward to this. I thought it looked pretty funny. I thought it looked like a 21 Jump Street-esque sort of comedy, and no, it's just puerile fucking garbage. I love Zac Efron on The Rock. They need to stop making such bad choices with their movies, because they're funny people. Baywatch was terrible. Number 10 is The Great Wall. Matt Damon's big whitewashing saga. He plays this guy who... You know what? I don't even remember the plot of this movie. I didn't remember the plot of this movie like an hour after I watched it. I couldn't tell you. He's a guy, he gets captured or something, and they fight the Mongolians and there's dragons and shit. I don't know, it's just so boring. I'm not complaining about the fucking cultural whitewashing. I'm complaining that it was just a shitty, boring movie. Number 9 is another movie a lot of people quite liked, but it's Power Rangers. I caught this after it hit theaters. I missed it in theaters, and it just grayed out shit. Like, they've obviously gone to the DCEU school of color grading, and none of the characters were interesting. One of the female characters, I think, was just completely sidelined, and before it came out, they made a big deal, like, oh, she's bisexual or something, and then she ended up having like 3 lines or something. I don't know, I watched it a while ago, I don't really remember it. It wasn't fun, you know. They kill off the best character and then bring him back like 5 minutes later. Bryan Cranston's there. Now, number 8, this is one of my cheats, because this is a movie that was released by Netflix, but it was actually a fairly high-profile one, big budget, and everyone's heard of it, so I'm gonna include it on the list, because Bright had no fucking right to be as bad as it was. $90 million budget. Will Smith, Joel Edgerton, who is one of the most talented people working in Hollywood right now. And a script from Max Landis, who hasn't really made anything that good since Chronicle, but, you know, he's a good ideas man, he's a creative bloke. And it was just, this is just a colossal fucking misfire. At its core, the concept is good. It's Lord of the Rings meets End of Watch. There's lots of fantasy characters, elves and orcs and stuff, living in modern, gritty, crime-ridden LA, and it's a buddy cop movie. The one shining light, I will say, Joel Edgerton as this orc gave a really, really good performance, I thought. But, you know, Will Smith sleepwalked through it. The script was so bad. Some lines were ad-libbed, but, like, it was so bad, and it's such an ugly looking film. For a film that cost $90 million, everything's just brown and grey and washed out. All the action scenes, you can't even see what's happening. I feel like 90% of their budget just went to paying Will Smith's fucking salary. You know, the villain, Noomi Rapace shows up as the villain, some evil elf, but the third act is like Suicide Squad levels bad. Just lights flying everywhere, none of it makes any sense, and it's just a really, really weird mishmash of tones and an absolute failure. Now, my number 7 is one that may actually cause a little bit of controversy because it's a film that most people really liked. In fact, a lot of people are regarding it as one of the best of the year, and that is Raw. It's a French horror. It's not really a horror film. It's a French film by directed by Julie Ducournau. I don't know. I probably butchered that name. And it's about this girl who goes to veterinarian school for the first time, and she starts she's a vegetarian, but then she starts sort of getting a taste for human flesh and starts like trying to maybe eat people and stuff, and it's a film that a lot of people really loved, and I'm not going to begrudge people for that. It's just one that didn't really work for me. It's a genre that I really don't like. I hate using the word pretentious. I hate it. It's a lazy criticism device, but oh boy, if this movie were any fucking further up its own ass, woo wee, Jesus Christ, the whole time it's like, oh, look at us, oh, we're so fucking smart, look at this shit, weird shit's happening, and all the characters are just nonchalant, like, oh, I don't really care, oh, I'm brooding, like, all this wild, wacky shit's happening, and no one reacts to anything. It's just, like, shock. And I use the word shock lightly because it's like, you know, I've seen much more brutal stuff, but it feels like it's just shit for the sake of shit. There are themes there about, you know, exploring your sexuality, sexual awakening, all that sort of stuff like that. It's because it's basically the whole movie is kind of a metaphor for this girl becoming a woman, becoming who she is. And I just didn't think any of it worked. It all felt half-baked. It looks at all these themes, and I didn't think it really explored any of them, or really asked or answered any big questions. It felt like it was just, like, you know, a pretentious sort of art film. And I know a lot of people really liked it. It just was not my cup of tea at all, and I found myself just getting angrier and angrier. And the ending makes zero sense and negates a lot of the shit that came before. I don't know, this film just fucking hit me on the wrong day. Number 6 is a real shame because it's probably the biggest disappointment of the year. It's a film that I was immensely looking forward to. Like, I saw the trailers and the talent involved, and I thought this was going to be, like, one of the best films of the year. And, it's The Snowman. Mr. Police, I gave you all the clues. You could have saved her. I should have known. I should have seen those posters. The stupid snowman would just, like, it. Like, I should have seen this one coming. But The Snowman is an absolute fucking disaster, and it's almost beautiful in a way. I actually want to watch it again because there are times where it's so bad it's funny, but unfortunately there are also times where it's fucking ridiculous, like incredibly slow, incredibly boring. Michael Fassbender plays a detective named Harry Hole. Just Harry Hole, that's his fucking name. And everybody's always like, oh, he's a great detective. One character's like, oh, the great Harry Hole. And the movie never shows us what a great detective he is, because he is consistently incompetent throughout the entire film. There are entire scenes missing. The director, Thomas Alfredson, who did, like, Let the Right One In and stuff, who's a really good director, says that they didn't even film the whole movie, so I guess they've just slapped it together. Val Kilmer's in it, and he's like on another planet. All his lines are dubbed over. The first line when you see him speak, it's not even in sync. That's how incompetently made this movie is. Val Kilmer couldn't even say his own lines properly, so they dubbed them over. Michael Fassbender is sleepwalking through the whole film. Rebecca Ferguson, she really tried, and she does a pretty good job with the shit material she's given. And there's just so many random side plots. J.K. Simmons has this weird side plot. He's like a, I don't know, a land developer or some shit. He's doing a weird British accent, and it has like no bearing on the actual plot. There's no actual clues. There's no actual mystery to solve, and the protagonist doesn't solve anything. It just sort of falls into his lap. There's a scene at the end where he's like has a standoff with the killer, and he's out in this big open snowy plain. Oh shit. He's like, where are you? Looking for the killer. And then the killer walks in from directly off screen and shoots at him. Like, you're on an open, snowy plain. He wasn't hiding. He was right there. He was just off screen. Like, this movie is actually so bad that it's hilarious now that I think about it. And I don't know how Thelma Schoonmaker, one of the greatest film editors of all time, was attached to this, but she edited it. I guess she just did the best job with what she was given, because this is one of the worst edited films I've ever seen. And I've just gone off my head about this, and the only reason that The Snowman is this low on the list is because it has really nice cinematography. It is pretty good to look at, and, I'll give it that. Number 5, it's an easy target. It's Kidnap. It's Halle Berry. I don't know why she's doing all these, abduction movies, but it's Halle Berry. She's got her son, and the son gets kidnapped, and she has to go and get in her car and chase after the kidnappers. And there's really not much more to it than that. It's just really, really poorly done, you know? The action scenes are laughable. Some of the dialogue is hilarious. There's some scenes at the start where she's working in a diner, and just some of the interactions she has with customers are just really, really ham-fisted, and there's not a whole lot I can say about this one. It's dumb. I was about to say it's fun, but it's not fun at all. It was kind of painful to sit through, and I don't really have a big rant for this one. It's just a really shitty movie that, is made for nobody. Number 4 is one we probably all saw coming, and it's The Mummy. Now, The Mummy was Universal's attempt to kickstart their dark universe, their planned monster universe. They tried it with Dracula Untold, which was not good, but yeah, it was alright, but it wasn't really the glowing start they needed. So they got The Mummy, and this entire movie just exists for franchise building. It's not a movie. It's a fucking news article saying, hey, look at all the movies we have coming out. They shove Russell Crowe in there to set up Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There's like a Creature of the Black Lagoon tease at the end. And it's Tom Cruise just sleepwalking. Like, I've always said this about Tom Cruise. Say what you will about him as a person, he always gives 110% to every role. I can't say that anymore because... fuck. I mean, this was just a disaster from start to finish. There's like a running gag throughout the movie about his character's sexual prowess, and I'm like, that's not funny. It'll absolutely waste Jake Johnson. Sophia Boutella is the one thing I'll give this movie. She's great in everything she's in, and she was a great choice to play the Mummy. It's just the movie fucked it up in the execution. It is probably the most boring film of the year. I saw this alone, and I think I actually fell asleep for about 5 or 10 minutes during the film. It is a nothing movie, and it's so bad that it actually killed their Dark Universe franchise. It's done. It's not happening, and that's for the best. Now, it wouldn't be one of my worst movies of the year lists without a female-led comedy that was well received, but me hating it. And this one is Rough Night. A lot of people really, really liked this. A lot of people didn't. I saw this in the theater and alone, so I didn't even have anyone to make fun of it with, and it was just bad, man. Like, a career low point for pretty much everyone involved. I don't know why Scarlett Johansson did this. She's a great actress, and it's just a nothing movie. Kate McKinnon does this Australian accent, but... okay, so she's meant to be playing an Australian character, and she even has a joke early in the movie where she's like, oh, fucking people always say I'm New Zealand, that's offensive, I'm Australian. But the thing is, the accent she's doing is so bad that it actually sounds like a New Zealand accent. I found a lot of actors do that. When they try to do Australian, they sort of veer into a Kiwi accent, and that's personally offensive to me, like borderline treasonous against our nation. Kate McKinnon, who... is pretty damn annoying, and then who else was there? Alana Glazer and fucking Zoe Kravitz. They were okay in it, but It's just, you know, these girls are having a bachelorette night and they accidentally kill a guy and it's like, oh, wacky gags. And when the funniest moment in your female-led comedy is the side plot involving Scarlett Johansson's husband, then you know you fucked up. This could have been great, this could have been really funny, but instead it is just boring, offensive nonsense. No, it's not even offensive, I won't even give it that. It tries to be raunchy, and it is not at all. It was offensive to me as a film goer. Alright, we're getting down the business end of the list. Number 2 is a movie that I actually just watched last night, because I figured it wouldn't feel right doing the list without having seen it, and I saw it, and here we are. It is the Emoji Movie, the greatest meme of the year. I watched it, and you know, you kind of think, is it really that bad? Are people just hating it because of the fact that it exists? Yes and no. The fact that this movie exists is ridiculous. It's a bunch of old, out-of-touch studio executives at Sony thinking, hey, those kids like those emojis in their cell phones. Let's make one of those movies. But this movie is a giant fucking advertisement. It's so cynical, and it's a really, really sad statement about where we are at today. The whole movie is an advertisement for the iPhone. They go into the Just Dance app. It's like, hey, buy this app. Go buy Candy Crush. Hey, Spotify is gonna save the world. Oh, let's put in Dropbox. The adults will know that one. Like, this entire movie is product placement fucking dressed up as a kids movie, but it's not entertaining for kids at all. It's about Gene, a meta emoji voiced by TJ Miller, who apparently thought this was a better idea than staying on Silicon Valley. None of the voice acting was good. Whoever played the villain, Smiley, what's her name, was fucking garbage. But you know what? You know what's my takeaway from this movie? James Corden. Now, I never really understood why everyone hated James Corden. I've liked him in some stuff. I'm like, yeah, he's alright. He's a talented sort of guy. But now I get it. He voices the character High Five in this movie, and I just want to say, please kill yourself, High Five, you annoying little cunt. Might be the worst movie character of this year. There's a moment where they almost kill him, but then they have to go back and rescue him, and I was yelling at the screen, don't go back, just leave the fucking wanker. He's literally a wanker, he's a hand. Fuck High Five, God. It's gonna give me nightmares, that thing. But, no, this movie is just like, hey kids, embrace capitalism, buy all of our shit. It's not funny, all the jokes are just easy puns. They slander the good name of Sir Patrick Stewart by having him play a literal walking turd. It's actually really bad, like, not just because of the fact that it exists, it's just a bad movie. The animation is so bland and uninspired, and it's like the ending is them, you know, they're all dancing and happy because they saved the stuff, and as they're all dancing and happy music, I just felt my life slowly ending, because that's 86 minutes that I'll never get back. Number 1. Now, while I don't think there's anything this year that came out that was quite as bad as stuff like Dirty Grandpa and everything, this is still a pretty fitting one. It was very close between this and the Emoji Movie, but, you know, I'm giving it to The Layover. Now, it's kind of a cheat. It barely got, I think it got like a limited sort of theatrical release and then sort of went straight to video. But this is directed by the great William H. Macy, one of the best actors we've had over the last 20 or so years. And he was genuinely going around talking about the movie like he was proud of it. And this movie, when I talk about offensive, this movie is fucking offensive. I'm not speaking on behalf of women here, but I think they would probably agree that this movie is ridiculously offensive to women. It stars Alexandra Daddario and Kate Upton. Now, can you wonder why they cast those two? You know, for stuff to put in the trailers, you know, to get people in the seats, you know. Anyway, Kate Upton cannot fucking act. Alexandra Daddario, I think, is talented, but she just keeps picking shit movies. Like, she was in Baywatch 2, which was just another movie for them to go, hey, look at her tits, come see the movie. When I think she's more than that. And, but boy, is she not proving it with her film choices. But, yeah, so anyway, they play these two girls, they're friends, and they go on some holiday, and then they meet some hot, hunky dude, and they both want to pork him, and so they start fighting over who gets to pork the hunky dude, and it's just like, that's all these characters are reduced to. They're not intelligent at all. The whole movie is just them clamoring and doing, like, horrible things to each other just to try and get in this dude's pants. Like, these are, like, lifelong friends, but they're willing to throw that all away to get with some dude who's not even like, he's not even like intelligent or cool or anything. He's just hunky. That's it. This movie is just like, it fucking pissed me off because it's like, you know, we're never going to get good female-led comedies made if you keep making offensive garbage like this. And it's just, it's not funny, it's so boring, when the best part of the movie is, old mate from, Breaking Bad, Matt Jones, who played Badger, and, like, even he wasn't good. It's just, like, it turns into a road trip movie at one point, they learn their lesson at the end, and it's just, like, it's every buddy comedy cliche rolled into one, just really, really, really terrible movie, and, I hated it, and, yeah, that's the worst one, so that's my list. Thank you for watching. It's actually quite cathartic to yell a bit. I haven't done that in a while. And just these movies I would get mad at these movies for taking away hours of my life, but, you know, I didn't have to fucking watch them. I chose to watch them because I just try to watch as much as possible. But, yeah, there's some stuff I didn't see. I didn't see the Flatliners remake. I didn't see the new Transformers because I didn't have it in me. I'm done with those movies. And, you know, if there's another really bad movie you can think of, either A, I didn't see it, or B, I liked it. If I just shout out a movie that I'm seeing on a lot of people's worst lists that I thought was really good, Alien Covenant. Everyone seemed to hate that. I thought it was really great. I think it's probably one of the most underrated movies of the year. So yeah, if you're thinking, why didn't you put Alien Covenant on the list? There you go. Thank you very much for watching. As I said, my best list is probably going to come sometime in February. I just want to wait till I've seen everything. I want to see stuff like I, Tonya, The Shape of Water, Phantom Thread, The Post, Darkest Hour. There's a lot of stuff still to come on the Stronger, Molly's Game. Lots of stuff I'm really hyped for. But yeah, it's been a pretty damn good year for movies. You know, there's been some really, really low points, but there's been a lot of high points, like a lot of great movies. I don't know how I'm gonna fit it into just 10. I might even have to do a 15 or 20, but yeah, stay tuned for that down the track. And, you know, if you do like hearing me talk about movies, go and subscribe to the Children of Film podcast. It's a podcast I started with my buddy Jaron. We do it, I would say every week, but, you know, we're a little inconsistent, but we're getting back into the swing of it now. So go subscribe there. We're going to be doing like an award show at the end of the year, and we did one last year if you want to check that out. So, you know, follow us on Twitter as well. Plugs over. Thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely day, night, afternoon, time, place. Happy New Year!